Throwaway account for obvious reasons. I used to think I hit the jackpot with my wife. We met in college, clicked instantly, and dated for 5 years before getting married. She was funny, ambitious, and effortlessly charming. People loved her. I loved her. She always had this energy that made everything feel lighter. Being around her felt like a constant win. I wasn't perfect, not by a long shot, but I tried hard to be a good partner. I worked a stable job, handled most of the housework without complaint, and always made sure she felt supported in everything she did. When she wanted to start her own business, I dipped into my savings to help her launch it. She said she'd pay me back. I told her not to worry about it. We didn't fight much. Maybe that's what fooled me. When things were off, I assumed it was stress or bad sleep or just life. She'd been quieter over the last few months. More locked into her phone. Less affectionate. But I never thought it meant anything more than burnout. I'd ask if she was okay, and she'd smile and say, "Just tired, babe." I noticed she started spending more time with her mom again. They were close, always had been. Her mom was sharp-tongued and protective. Honestly, I always felt like I was being evaluated in her presence, even after 7 years together. But I didn't let it bother me. I thought, if her daughter loves me, that's what matters. We'd have dinner together, talk about our plans, laugh about dumb shows we both liked. I bought her flowers every couple weeks. Not out of obligation, but because I genuinely wanted to make her smile. When she forgot our anniversary this year, I told her it was okay, even though it stung. She said she was swamped. I believed her. Looking back now, there were moments that didn't sit right. Like how she started locking her phone. Or how she suddenly got cagey when I walked into the room while she was texting. Little things that, at the time, I told myself were nothing. You don't want to be the paranoid husband. You don't want to go digging through private stuff just because you feel insecure. That's what I told myself. She was still affectionate, just not in the way she used to be. Her kisses were quick. Her hugs felt like check-ins. But I brushed it off. I thought maybe we were just going through a quiet phase, and it would pass. People warned me marriage wasn't always romantic, that sometimes it's just showing up and being steady. So that's what I did. I showed up. I stayed steady. If anything was wrong, I thought she'd tell me. We always promised honesty. That was one of our first rules. No games. No secrets. I didn't know then that she had already broken that rule. Or that one sentence, 12 words, would burn through every good thing I thought we had. It happened on a random Thursday. I came home early from work because of a busted AC unit in the office. I didn't call ahead. I figured I'd surprise her. Maybe grab lunch together. When I opened the front door, the house was quiet except for her voice. She was on the phone, probably in the kitchen. I took off my shoes, didn't say anything. I didn't want to interrupt. But then I heard her laugh. Not the fake one she used with clients, the real one. I don't know why I froze. Maybe it was the tone, maybe it was instinct. I stood there behind the hallway wall, out of sight, just listening. And then I heard her say it. He's honestly the perfect guy. The perfect ex-husband, too. When I'm ready to go, he won't fight me. He'll just let me walk away. My heart stopped. She wasn't joking. Her tone was flat.
Certain.
Her mother responded, something muffled, but it made her laugh again. I know. He's too nice. He'd probably help me move out if I asked. My mouth went dry. I couldn't move. I don't even know what I was hoping to hear after that. Some sign she didn't mean it? That it was part of some weird conversation I misunderstood? But it wasn't. She kept talking. I just want to wait until the timing's right. Maybe after the house refinance. Or when the business hits the next stage. I don't want to deal with the legal mess right now. That part hit harder than the rest. She wasn't unhappy. She was calculating. She wasn't just thinking of leaving. She was planning it. Quietly.
Carefully.
Like she was waiting to get her affairs in order before cutting loose dead weight. That dead weight was me. I backed away before she saw me. Walked outside like a ghost. Sat in my car with the engine off for what felt like hours. The world just stopped. My wife, the woman I'd done everything for, the person I thought was my teammate, had already written me out of her story. And worse, she did it with a smirk. I kept hearing that sentence over and over. the perfect ex-husband. Like it was a compliment. Like my kindness was a flaw to be used. I didn't confront her that night. I couldn't. I went back inside like I hadn't heard a thing. She greeted me with a kiss on the cheek and asked how my day was. I told her it was fine. We had pasta. She talked about some supplier issue. I nodded, smiled, laughed when I needed to. I was watching the woman I loved lie to my face, and all I could do was play along. Because the moment I reacted, the game would be up. And I wasn't ready yet. I needed to know more. I needed to know how long this had been going on and why. The next few days were brutal. I went through the motions like nothing had changed, but everything had. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat without feeling sick. Every time she smiled at me, every time she kissed my forehead or asked about my day, it felt fake. I wasn't sure how much of our life was real anymore. I told myself I'd imagined it, twisted it in my head. But I knew I hadn't. She said what she said, and she meant it. That sentence had weight. Perfect ex-husband. It echoed in everything she did. Suddenly, I noticed things I'd ignored before. Her phone never left her side, even in the bathroom. She used to scroll openly next to me. Now she angled the screen away, locked it like it was national security. She had meetings that didn't make sense, and came back with perfume she didn't leave the house wearing. I wasn't proud of what I did next, but I had to know the truth. One night while she was showering, I went through her phone. She'd changed the passcode, but I knew her well enough to guess it. It was our wedding date. The irony nearly made me laugh. Messages. A long chain of them with someone labeled Jamie, work. But they weren't about work. They were emotional, flirtatious, intimate. No nudes. No explicit texts. But it was enough. She said things to him she hadn't said to me in months. She called him my peace, said she wished she could wake up next to him without guilt someday. What hurt more than anything was the tone. Warm, unguarded, full of affection. The same tone she used to have with me. The parts of her that made me fall in love. She'd given them to someone else. I didn't lose it. I didn't throw the phone or scream. I just sat there in silence. All the pieces fit now. The distance, the coldness, the calculation. She wasn't just preparing to leave me. She was already emotionally gone. I was a placeholder, the man who paid bills and smiled in pictures while she crafted her exit. When she came out of the shower, I looked at her and almost asked. I almost broke everything wide open. But I didn't. Because I wanted to see how far she would go. I wanted to hear her lie to my face, knowing I already knew. Maybe that makes me messed up. Maybe I wanted her to feel the guilt. But more than anything, I needed to be sure. I watched her sit next to me and scroll Instagram like nothing was wrong. I watched her lean on my shoulder, completely unaware that everything had shifted. She had no idea the man she was planning to discard already saw her for who she was. That night I started planning too. Not to win her back. Not to beg. Just to leave on my terms, the way a perfect ex-husband would. When I finally confronted her, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse or explode. I just told her I knew. About the phone call. About the messages. About Jamie. I told her I heard every word she said to her mom, how I'd make the perfect ex-husband because I'd let her go without a fight. She froze, went pale, then tried to spin it. You misunderstood, she said. It was just a joke. A stupid exaggeration. But she wasn't laughing now. I didn't respond. I just handed her a printed copy of the messages between her and Jamie. No context. No drama. Just the truth in her own words. That was the moment the mask cracked. Her entire face dropped, and for the first time, she looked scared. Not because I yelled. Not because I threatened her. But because I didn't. I was calm. Cold even. And she didn't expect that. She asked if we could talk. I told her we already had. I said I'd be filing for divorce, and she wouldn't need to worry. I wouldn't drag her name through the mud. I wouldn't tell her family. I wouldn't ask for the money back. I'd be exactly what she predicted. The perfect ex-husband. She cried. I didn't. She asked if there was anything she could say to make me reconsider. I said no. Because if you have to ask that question, we're already too far gone. Over the next few weeks, I moved through everything efficiently. I spoke to a lawyer, moved some money, took care of the paperwork. She stayed in the house while I found a short-term rental. I didn't make a scene. I didn't tell mutual friends. I just left, quietly, and she hated that. I think part of her wanted me to blow up, to scream, to become the bad guy so she could justify everything. But I didn't give her that. I left with my dignity intact, and she was stuck sitting in the middle of a life she broke, wondering why it didn't feel like freedom. Funny how that works. A few months after the divorce was finalized, she texted me. Just a simple, "Hey, hope you're okay." I didn't respond. I didn't need to. She made her choice, and I made mine. Since then, I've started rebuilding. Therapy helped. So did time. I've picked up old hobbies, reconnected with friends I let drift. I smile now without forcing it. Some days still hurt, but I don't miss her. Not anymore. I miss who I thought she was. But that version of her never really existed. She was right about one thing. I did make the perfect ex-husband. Not because I was weak, but because I knew when to walk away without turning into someone I'm not. And in the end, that's what saved me.